Hey, this is Pat. As many of you know, I use Westcott LEDs to light my YouTube studio, and they just came out with a brand new one called the L120-B. This is a COB LED, and I am really excited to check it out. So we're going to do an unboxing here and see what we got. I really like these lights because they're just so convenient. They're bright and they use all the same light modifiers that my strobes do, which makes it super easy, especially if I'm doing like a hybrid assignment where I'm shooting video and stills. But they're just super compact and pretty lightweight, but the most important thing is that I get a really good quality of light. All right, so there's a pretty decent case here. Fitted case. Here we go. This is cool how they put this on the top of the case, by the way. This is an easy thing you might miss. This would be great for a light stand. You could just put the light stand up there and then strap it down. Okay, here we go. All right, first thing we're going to pull out is the ever so bright. These newer style reflectors are really, really bright. They put out gobs of light. It's cool. Note the Bowens mount, Bowens S mount, which is cool. And here we go. Oh, it's really small. I thought it was going to be bigger than this. Nice frosted cover on the top. Let me pull this out and put this down where you guys can get a better look at it. Sorry. I'm going to pull out the power cords and stuff like that. And then they also sent me, this comes with it, which is really good. That's to get into a switch box. All right, so I'm going to set this stuff aside so we can just get into the light itself. Now on the top, there's a little spring-loaded switch here where you just push and hold and then twist, and then the flash tube cover comes off. And then you would put the reflector on. Note that this reflector is really small, and it's actually made of plastic, which I hadn't seen before. And you can see the little LED array in there, which is round, which is nice. A lot of the older LEDs were square. It has a normal kind of a good umbrella swivel kind of deal, so that the umbrella will go in here, and you can tighten and loosen the umbrella, the shaft of the umbrella in there, which is cool. But this is nice because it's got the, you can put it in any position you want to. So if you lock this down, you want to put it in your bag, and it ends up being up here, it doesn't really fit very well. So you can just literally just pull it and then lock it down. So it gets pretty small. It's super light. This is a really, really lightweight. Oh, this is cool. So give me a minute. I'm going to go ahead and plug this thing in so you guys can actually see what's going on. So give me just 1 minute. All right, so a couple things. This is the power supply that you get. The power supply comes in a little bag, and the bag is attached to like these little cables, which are really handy because you can just hang on a light stand. One of the things I want to point out is the cable between the head and the power supply is quite long. It's probably 6-8 feet long. So if you had to do this over on a boom, it would not be a problem. And that's a really good way of thinking. And then also the power cord that leads from the power supply back to the AC outlet is also pretty long onto the light. I just turned it on for the very first time, and there's something pretty innovative here. I'm going to turn this around so you can hopefully see this. Oops, there we go. When you turn the light on, you can adjust your white balance on one side and then your dimmers on the other side. So here's the dimmer thing. But I noticed that this switch here, this is your power switch. So if I push and hold, it's going to turn it off. I'm going to push and hold and then turn it on. But I'll show you something cool. There's a little fan indicator here. So if I just push it again, it turns the fan off. Now this is big because sometimes you get in a soundstage that's truly quiet if you're not working on location someplace and you really need the fans off. Now I'm sure you probably can't have it all the way up and have it off, but the actual ability to turn the fan off completely is a big deal. And these units are not going to be typically used outdoors because they would have difficulty overcoming like bright sunlight and stuff like that. But indoors, this is a fantastic feature. So I'm pretty excited about just being able to turn the fan off on this thing. It's just really cool. And then, so you have your color temperature on one side, and as you can probably see that that's changing. Look at my hand. Well, I'm up too bright, so let me turn this down so you can see a little bit better. So here's I'm going to turn this back up here. You can see I'm 59, so it'll go way up to 6,500 Kelvin, and it will go all the way down to 2,700 Kelvin. And typically, what I find in most tungsten situations where it's supposed to be 3,200, the actual color temperature is usually around 2,750 or 2,800. So this is going to match up better with, just lamps in a living room situation or something like that. Also, keep in mind that when you have a lampshade, that the tungsten bulb's inside of a lampshade, the lampshade is going to drop that color temperature even further into more warmth. And so being able to go down to 2,700 is a big deal. So I really like that feature. So basically you have, the ability to change the color temperature. I usually leave mine on 5,500 because like virtually all of my lighting these days is daylight. I just much prefer it. But yeah, this thing gets pretty dang bright. I'm just gonna crank it up all the way. I'm gonna try to turn the fan off. Let's see what happens. Okay, that's cool. So it dropped to 30%. So it's telling us that at 30% power, you can have no fan. I love that. That's a great feature. So very cool. So I'm going to turn the fan back on. And now, yeah, it should let me go all the way up. And I've got a pretty, calm setting here, but just to give you an idea how bright this sucker is, this is really, oh man. Yeah, it's pretty good. Most of this type of reflector that's being made now has this, this crinkly finish inside. This finish is incredibly bright and it does a good job, but it's pretty spotty. And so what I'm gonna do now is just kind of look at the wall and just see, yeah, it's got a nice hot spot in the middle, which you really wouldn't want if you're doing, if you're doing something. I'm looking at the ceiling right now, but away from the hot spot, it's pretty even. So it's like bright in the very center, and then it kind of dissipates as it goes off to the side. And it's a pretty good, I would say that's probably from a distance of like 4 feet to the ceiling, it's probably a 5-foot wide spread. So just be careful with the reflectors, and remember that all the 7-inch grid reflectors from strobes or whatever will work on this if you have a Bowens mount. So you're not stuck with using just this reflector. But what this reflector is great for is if you're going to put it into a scrim or bounce it off the ceiling, you're going to get this really nice kick because of that hot spot in the middle. Just be aware that that spot's there. You can notice all the venting on the top and on the bottom. So there's like, the fan is actually pushing air through the unit. And that's really good. I have a feeling this is going to be a good long run unit. But I love that I can just turn that off. And I'm just gonna put this up here so you can hear it. Actually, I'm gonna put it right to the mic. You can't see the mic, but so this is the unit right next to the microphone. And now I'm gonna turn the fan on. So even if you have to run with the fan and you gotta be over 30% power, it's a really nice look. I think it's great. All the cord plus the power supply gives you 21 feet of distance. It's even better than I thought, which is really cool. Also, I found out that the center of the unit, this part here is made of cast aluminum, and then the ends are plastic. So this is really instills a lot of confidence because this is going to take a pretty good hit. The old Elechrome compact strobes used to have problems because it was a real thin aluminum, almost like aluminum siding, and it would dent, and when it would dent, it would break the circuit board inside. So I think this is going to be a lot more robust kind of a way to go in general. This unit also has an app that you can use, that you can control the power, the output, the color temperature, all that stuff. It's already, and it's a free app you can download, which would be on the Westcott website. All in all, I'm really excited about seeing this thing for the first time, and I can't wait to get a few more for myself for doing production. Again, I think these are going to be awesome for any kind of interior production, and the fact that it takes the Bowens mount light modifier is huge. One other little tip I'll give you about this light in particular, and really all the Westcott lights, the switch boxes are really a great way to utilize a light modifier that doesn't take up a lot of room to ship and store, but gives an amazing quality of light. And if you haven't tried it, I really like the 36-inch white interiored beauty dish. It's incredible. The silver one will give you a little bit more output, but the white, if you're doing portrait work or you're getting really close to things, the white is much more creamy and smooth, and it looks really good. So I would pair this up with either the 24-inch or the 36-inch beauty dish that Westcott makes. And I know it's hard because like a lot of the people that come in on the video side of things, they're not as familiar with all the strobe modifiers, but we have like a huge variety of modifiers for the Bowens S mount. And in addition to all these reflectors and things like that. And typically, you see a grip truck pull up and it's got, the stuff in it, and it's chock-a-block full of ways to modify. But some of the switch lights in particular that Westcott makes are really ideal for video production, in addition to being awesome for stills. So be sure to go to the website and check that out. Sometimes in production, you just really need to run over there outside and shoot something in the shade of a tree, and there's no power there. And getting power there is, a lot of work and cords and generator, and then the generator maybe makes too much noise for your audio and all that stuff. There's another solution that Westcott has for the L120-B, as well as the smaller lights as well. They make their own V-mount battery. It's a kind of a compact V-mount, and this is a 160 watt maximum output. It's a 6400 mAh battery. It's a 95 watt hour battery. It's really convenient because you can charge it with USB-C or USB, but it's pretty cool. But the coolest thing about this battery is it has a D-tap in it. And so we can take this little guy here, D-tap the 2-pin power cable, and a D-tap battery powering the L120-B, which is pretty cool. So let's see here. So there it is. I can turn the fan off, of course, and even if you're indoors, sometimes it's just not convenient. So if I go to 30%, we can now run this light with the battery, and we're going to get a visual display of where the battery's at all times, which is really helpful. I have 2 of these batteries that I use on my FX6 Sony camera, and it's just great that I can use the same exact battery to power a light if I need it. So this kind of system is really cool. I'm going to see what happens if I turn the fan on and go all the way up. Okay, interesting. So what's happened is the light has stopped at 80%, which is really cool. So basically, what's going on here is it's a smart battery. So the light knows that it's a D-tap that's connected to it. Somehow it knows, and it stops at 80%. So you can go to 80% power in the L120-B with the V-mount battery, and that's probably the safe area. And you can do fan off or fan on as long as you're under 30%. So this is a really cool feature. So if you just need to do something really quick, fast, a quick interview over in the corner, whatever, it's cool. And then there's one other accessory that they have created that's pretty cool and very useful, and it's called a V-mount battery clamp. And so this guy just basically goes, attaches to the side of any light stand of any width, it doesn't matter what it is. And of course it'll just connect on to the V-mount. And so now you're attached to the stand. So pretty cool. This is a really nice little feature. And this thing will just come out and you can just widen it up or however you need to do it. It's got rubber on the inside of the grip part. And then you can just tighten it down and there you go. And if you want to take it off, you just push the button, push in, and off you go. So just having all this as an option for powering, you know, the L120-B is really a cool, it's just going to be a super useful tool in the field. And of course, as soon as you're done with it, you can just pop it off, plug it into USB-C and charge even a cell phone battery or whatever. So really cool, very thoughtful. And you know, it's a thought of a system rather than a product. So often we see the Chinese cranking out products, but they don't really fit into an overlying system. And I love this. So this is a really cool option. And yeah, and by the way, this same kind of option would work to power an FX9 or an FX6. You could like literally have this on the leg of a tripod. And then, you know, D-tap power, you just have to get the cord that goes to the deal on the FX6 or FX9 or whatever. So basically, I'll give you an example here. So here's my kind of rigged up FX6 with the same battery. Here it is. Same battery is what's on there. So it's very nice to have the option, and of course this can move and whatever. And I just built this out. This is a really cool setup from Condor Blue. I shopped around a lot to try and figure out what to do about rigging up my FX6, and this was the very best option. So anyway, I hope this has been useful. Thanks so much for watching, and come back again. See ya.